Nigerian fintech company Paystack has suspended its co-founder and chief technology officer Ezra Olubi following allegations of workplace-related sexual misconduct linked to resurfaced tweets. The tweets, which were posted between 2009 and 2013, contained sexually explicit remarks, including jokes involving colleagues and comments about experiencing erections during meetings. Social media user also highlighted posts in which Olubi referenced taking photos of a female co-worker's thighs, as well as disturbing comments involving minors, bestiality, and sexualized and meme characters. Although Olubi's X account has since been deleted, only records indicate the posts were made before Paystack was founded. In a brief statement, Paystack said it would not provide further comments until its internal investigations is concluded, noting that the silence is intended to protect the individuals involved and preserve the integrity of the process. Our legal practitioner, Todimu Iye, joins us live in the studio right here with me for a conversation on this subject. So, I'd like to know what the implications of Ezra's comments were on social media. Let's note that these were thoughts and that there were no proof. But as a lawyer, do let us know. How implicative is this?
All right, thank you for having me. Now, for some of the tweets, some of them were admissions of wrongdoings. You know, some were on the borderline of admitting to have had sodomy. Mm-hmm. Some of them are on the borderline of claiming to have recorded some of his colleagues without their consent. You know, so there are privacy laws that have been breached. There are sodomy. Mm-hmm. is an offense in Nigeria as of date. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they are old tweets doesn't mean that the statute of limitation has caught up with them. Mm-hmm. So to the extent of his admissions on Twitter or X.
But were they admissions? These were statements. These were put on Twitter.
On X, yes.
There are no proof to these if you call them admissions, or rather if you call them admissions.
Yes, you know, some of them, like you said, are just statements. Mm-hmm. There are some that he said that, you know, there are some that he said, oh, I woke up, you know, after having this with my cat. There was one he said that he put a microphone mm-hmm. in the toilet, mm-hmm. you know, so in the restroom.
Yeah, but once again, he's saying these things, but there are no proof. So if I admit to a crime, does that make it that I'm punishable, that I could be punished?
Yes, if
just a plain admission.
Yes,
no need for
it's an admission.
Now, how does this affect Paystack as a company now?
Well, you know, the part of Paystack, like all these issues happened before the co-founded Paystack. But Paystack, now being a company, would be very careful when it comes to corporate governance, interaction with their customers and their clients, that they need to distance themselves from this kind of twist to show that this is not who we are as an organization. What Mr. Olubi has said is different from what we stand for as an organization.
So they can distance themselves from the individual. It is in order for them to say that, well, we are two distinct personalities. Paystack is distinct from Mr. Olubi. He has his personal life, and we are not in any way condoning or supporting what he has done. And, you know, they have also said that they want to conduct internal investigations to ascertain that there has been no abuse of his fellow workers or because you see, Mr. Todimu, that's what I expected from before, that there would be investigation to see if these statements or these expressions are actually true. Then if there's proof, then perhaps maybe the law can take its course. But admission here seems a bit, you know, he could have just been imagining these things. We also have to wonder the state of the person who is expressing these expressions as well. Is this person actually in their full mind? Are they doing these things? Are they at that time perhaps maybe, let's question sanity. So if these investigations show that he might have been in such a state, then what?
Well, for Paystack, I want to believe that it's proper corporate governance to suspend such an individual pending investigation so that he doesn't have the capacity to influence whatever is the investigation that has been done. Now, away from that, to move forward to answer your question in respect of what has transpired. If it's found out that he was in the right state of mind when he made those tweets and he still stands by those admissions, those comments, then he has, because there are issues of pedophilia there. There is issue of sodomy. There is issue of abuse of privacy. There is also workplace molestation. So there are a borderline of crimes that have been committed, from the National Industrial Court to criminal offenses, and also to, so there are so many things that can happen going forward from here. And of course, when admissions like this have come to light, he did not commit these crimes in isolation, or he did not admit to these issues in isolation. We might go a step further to see people now coming up to say, this happened to me, I could not talk because of who he was and all that. So it depends, a lot.
So does that change anything if there is a complainant? Would it change the situation? Would
100%.
It makes it more...
Yes, now that if somebody comes out to say that this happened and the police is involved, the police, after investigation, would charge the matter to...
But in a situation where there's no complainant at all, then what happens? Is he still going to be is it still a criminal offense? Well,
in the instance that no complainant comes forward, the issue of sodomy is there. The issue of breaching the privacy of his colleagues is there. So apart from I don't know where he was working at that time, but that anybody could, in all these things, they are paper trail. That company could cause there to be an investigation, and they can also report him. And in the event that he doesn't do that, then he will still need to come out, not just delete his X account. He needs to come out and be accountable, letting the public know the state of mind he was at the time that these things happened. And to say that, no, this is not who I am. I sought therapy at the time that I was going through these issues, and this is who I am now.
So that makes it all complicated.
Accountability.
When we think about the fact that he could just simply say, oh, I was perhaps maybe going through some moments that weren't, that questioned my sanity. Now, let's also ask if there has been precedence from before. How has the Nigerian system attended to these kinds of issues? Have we had any of these? And just so we know how this might, what direction this might go in.
Okay, I'll give you an example. That was in the public act, even this year.
Okay.
That was the issue of speed Darlington.
Okay.
You remember that he was probably recorded by his friends. I think it was, I'm not sure if he went live, but there was a video he admitted that a minor came into his hotel room and he had...
It was simply admittance, actually. He simply just said that, yes.
And at the time that NAPTIP invited him and other people, he recanted and said, no, I was just fooling myself. This is not what happened. If he had maintained his stance that was what happened, ordinarily they would have charged him to God. As a matter of fact, NAPTIP declared him wanted. We don't know where that situation, probably has not showed up anytime. So that means he's a person of interest. And matters like this, when it comes to children, minors, it is not just about Nigeria. There are international laws that govern it. He is a person of interest in anywhere. So that means that he could even travel and Interpol will pick him up. And so those are areas that...
So if he recants, if Mr. Olubi recants now, does that make it all go away?
Well, if he recants, it's his admission. He was one that said, I did this, and now I didn't do it. If there's no proof, because if anybody goes to court, the duty of the prosecution is to prove beyond reasonable doubt. And don't forget that if you claim that a crime has been committed, there are no witnesses.
Yep.
Only Mr. Olubi is the one that said, I did this, and he's saying that I didn't do it again. And instances, there have been times that we're in court, that somebody who has been accused of a crime claims that I made these statements under duress, and the court will do what we call a trial within trial to ascertain the true state of the mind of the person undergoing trial.
At the time.
Yes.
So let's talk about the companies now, not just Paystack. Let's talk about what obligation companies have when they are faced with these kinds of issues. We've seen international instances, but what about here in Nigeria? What do companies owe perhaps maybe society, or what do they owe workers or employees who work in that company when they have these kinds of instances?
Well, the labor law is very clear that employers owe their members of staff the duty of care and to ensure that the workplace is safe. And in this instance, the Paystack or any other organization needs to let the public know that our members of staff are safe. Their privacy will not be breached. They will not be harassed sexually for coming to work. So it's an obligation that is placed on the company to see that, to show that we are distancing ourselves from this. Anybody who works here, we uphold values, our core values, and we uphold the law. Because if you don't do that, public would easily lose interest. And of course, the law enforcement will also look at the whole system and be sure that if one of the co-founders can be like this, then let's do more
investigation
to ascertain and unravel more things.
Mr. Torimu, thank you very much. Mr. Torimu Ige, legal practitioner, for bringing some light to the story there, that issue. Thank you very much.